Taigwe, greetings. Diri Mukaro Aguibana, Boriken Taino Daka. My name is Roberto Mukaro Borrero. I'm a Boriken Taino, and it's my pleasure to greet you and say Maburika, welcome. You as the moderator for this virtual launch of the self-paced introductory course, Indigenous Peoples at the United Nations, Project Access Online. This course is being offered by the United Nations Development Program, or UNDP, and the Tribal Foundation. So if you're joining us today, that means that you might be one of the over 1,200 registrants who are signed up right now for the course. So if you haven't registered yet, we hope that by the end of the session, we'll inspire you to do just that by the end of the program. So I want to begin by saying that we're dedicating the launch of this course to our dear friend, mentor, ally, and visionary, Pamela Kraft, who's Tribal Link Foundation's founder and past executive director. She sadly passed recently, and just to let you know a little bit about Pamela, just for over 3 decades, Pamela has been just an ardent champion for Indigenous peoples and the rights of Indigenous peoples, the resources and communities. And for those who were involved in the development of this course that we're launching today, we consider the course a part of her legacy and really a testimony to the commitment of the Tribal Link Foundation to Indigenous peoples. Now, for over 15 years, Tribal Link Foundation's Project Access Training Workshop has facilitated a unique and a holistic in-person capacity building program that supports Indigenous peoples' participation in multi-stakeholder forums. Now, this year, as you can imagine, due to the COVID-19 pandemic, Tribal Link was not able to have a live session because our Project Access sessions usually take place live. They're interactive. They're like a 3-day immersive program, and then right into whatever UN event, usually the permanent forum that we're engaging with. But for this year, we're fulfilling our commitment to Indigenous peoples through this partnership with UNDP, and we're offering this Project Access program online. So this takes aspects of our live in-session program. It's not the whole program. You won't get the same interaction level as you would in a live situation, but we feel that bringing a program like this to you can help facilitate at least or alleviate some frustration that people might have when entering the UN system without any kind of previous orientation. So again, this is an introductory level program, but we really feel that it's important to have this information. There's a lot of resources that you'll be able to download, workbooks with each of the lectures, but we'll talk a little bit more about that as we go on. But I think the greatest value of the Project Access program is really the community that we're building. And now by joining the course, you're also now connected to this Project Access community or family. So again, I say, Maburika, welcome. So right now, we're going to be taking about roughly an hour and a half of time to introduce the course. We'll have time for some questions. And we really hope that this begins this learning journey that we'll take together. And we'll describe the goals of the course. We'll share the motivations for offering the course, as I just shared a little bit now, and we'll outline some of the course objectives. But again, we will open up for questions. We have a great group here joining us for the launch today. So I'm going to be joined by Tashka Yawanawa, who's the chief of the Yawanawa peoples in the Brazilian Amazon. Miriam Masakisa, she's the social affairs officer at the Indigenous Peoples and Development Branch of the Secretariat of the Permanent Forum on Indigenous Issues, and Nina Koncheva, she's the Senior Policy Advisor on Indigenous Peoples and Local Community Engagement at the Nature for Development Program at UNDP. So before we start getting into the dialogue and the sharings, I would like to respectfully invite my dear friend, spiritual brother, Chief Tashka Yawanawa, to open the session with a blessing. So Tashka, when you're ready, just unmute yourself, put your video on, and you have the floor.
Thank you, my brother Roberto. It's very exciting to see a lot of people around the world using the message, and also remember the memory of Pamela. Through Pamela, she connected all of us. And I would like to open this with, we say Vakushi. Vakushi in Yawanawa means asking to the Creator to clean our mind, to bring good inspiration and vibration. It's a little prayer in Yawanawa. Kapi, no, 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 ah, hey, no, ma, ah, hey, no, ma, zakana, no, inde, zakana.
Thank you, my brother, for opening us up in that good way. You know, we do this sort of opening in our Project Access Live program. We always begin with a blessing and just to bring us all together in a good mind. And I feel that you've done that today, Chief Tashka Yawanawa. Thank you so much. You know, before we get into some of our other presentations, I don't know if you would like to say anything else, Tashka, about your participation with Project Access or any other words about Pamela before we begin. But I wanted to just offer you that opportunity
Sure.
before we move on.
Sure, thank you. I feel so grateful to use the internet. I know we are far away from each other, but we are all connected. We live on this big village. We are all connected. We are not separated from each other. And to me, always, when I remember Pamela, I just have a good memory. She tried to her best, give a voice for people that don't have opportunity to speak up. She give opportunity for others than human beings, people that live far away, like me in Amazon. For myself, I never been able to speak out for many authorities of my countries can be listened to us. And the true to the tribal link, I did a little very great contact when I was UN, and this become later to me to support. Today I have some kind people still supporting me. This was true tribal link connect us, and I'm very grateful for this. I think many of us will get advantage when we was in New York participant at that UN Indigenous Permanent Forum, get opportunity to connect with a lot of people, some foundations, some donors, and this becomes the support. And I'm very grateful for this and for to make a good friends like you, like Nina, and many of the other indigenous peoples. And thank you, Pam. You always in good memories in our, you become us a big family around the world. Thank you, brother.
Thank you so much, Hahom, once again. Datia, thank you, brother. And say Han Hankatu, yes. Everything that you said, I'm in agreement with. And Pamela was a special person. This course is a legacy of her work, and also once again a commitment, really the commitment of Tribal Link Foundation to continue
Tudo
to
bom?
bring these resources
Beleza?
to everyone.
Tudo
So I just want to right now just welcome Nina. Um, Thank you so much, Nina, for being here. I know you're traveling at the moment, so it's really great that you're able to tune in with us. And after we work together on this wonderful team, we'll talk a little bit more about that. But please, you have the floor. Let's talk about the course. Let's talk about the goals, the aims, and what people can expect here, and whatever else you feel is important to share.
Excellent, wonderful. Thank you so much, Roberto, and hello to old friends and new friends that I look forward to making through this course. Welcome here. I'm so thrilled that we get to launch this course together. And, I've been just so lucky to be able to work with both Pamela and Tribal Link Foundation and UNDP at different times, but always interlinked in our commitment to make sure that Indigenous peoples have a voice here at the UN. As we'll learn in this course, this hasn't been easy for Indigenous peoples to get access to the United Nations. In fact, it was impossible when they first tried. With this course, really what we would like to change that. Of course, it has changed so much since the 1920s, but our course is yet another stepping stone towards making sure that Indigenous peoples have the tools for the advocacy that's necessary at the global level right now. So in the course, you'll see that it's split in 3 modules. And in the first module, we'll look at the history of the Indigenous peoples movement at the global level. We then go into the Declaration on the Rights of Indigenous Peoples, an incredibly important tool that took 30 years to elaborate and to finally sign, to adopt. And then we go into the UN Permanent Forum in particular, and we'll hear more about the Permanent Forum from our colleague Miriam Masakisa in a few minutes. And module 3 will take you in 2 different parts through the CBD, the UNFCCC. I'm sorry I'm using acronyms. You are going to learn them. The Convention on Biological Diversity, the United Nations Framework, Convention on Climate Change. We'll talk about the UN human rights and treaty bodies. We'll talk about the Sustainable Development Goals. We'll also talk about a program like the Equator Initiative, where I work at UNDP, and the speakers will give you tools on how to advocate at each of these levels, the expert mechanism on the rights of Indigenous peoples, the special rapporteur, and so on. So by the end of the course, you'll have a good sense of all of these entry points for Indigenous peoples advocacy at the international level, at the SDG, biodiversity, and climate change agendas. That's our goal. More than that, I also want to say that, the course here at the Nature for Development program, all of our work, my work here is to try and use my privileged position to open up political space and policy space for Indigenous activists and experts and peoples to come and speak on their own behalf for their own priorities. But the course also is about writing that initial hurt of not allowing Indigenous peoples at the UN, the family of nations turning away some of its own. So I want to say welcome to each and every one of you. We're really happy that you're here. I'm really glad that you're here. I want you to know that there's real humans behind the course. It might be virtual, but this is our team. You see Victoria here and Julie, Roberto, of course, leading Tribal Link Foundation now, is Diego, Daniel. There's so many people who have made this course a possibility and worked really, really hard, because we're all committed and believe in the power of this vision that my friend and mentor, Pamela Kraft, held for so many years. And I know she would be so proud to know that 140 people are here together, and over 1,200 people have signed up for the course. And this is just in English. We are working on translating the course in Spanish. So it will be available in at least Spanish in the next few months. So please watch the space And one other thing that I wanted to say is that I mentioned that I work here at UNDP. We run the Equator Initiative, which awards the Equator Prize. You might have heard about the Equator Prize. The Equator Prize identifies and awards best practices of Indigenous peoples and local communities, preserving nature, biodiversity, solving the issue of climate change, and preserving their natural resources. I have also good news. I don't want to take away the limelight from the Project Access, but I want you to know that the Equator Prize will open for another cycle and will launch a call for nominations in 10 days. So if you have an incredible project and an innovation and traditional knowledge practice of your community, please apply to the Equator Prize. Back to Project Access Online. I'm very happy to be here. We're here for you. We're here to field your questions. Good luck with the course. It's incredible. There's some of the top experts in the Indigenous peoples movement are sharing their knowledge with all of us. Thank you so much, and on to you, Roberto. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Nina. I really appreciate that. I'm wondering if we'll be able to show maybe the how-to video, the orientation video.
Welcome to the self-paced course, Indigenous Peoples at the United Nations, Project Access Online. My name is Victoria, and in this short video, I'll walk you through our course room and show you how to complete the course activities. This is a self-paced course, which means that you can start the course activities and complete them at any time, going over the content at your own pace. When you enter the course room, you will find yourself on this page. There are several resources here that could be useful to you. If you need technical assistance, you can contact the course coordinator here. You can access the frequently asked questions here. And here you can find the course syllabus. The syllabus specifies the course requirements. You can also find this information on the course homepage. There are 3 required components of the course. We ask that you listen to all course lectures, pass 4 quizzes, and provide your feedback in the course survey. Once you complete these requirements, you will be able to download the course completion certificate directly from this course room. You will see a blue button that says Download your certificate above the course content section here. Now let's walk through the material that you will encounter in each module. I'll click on Module 1 to show you the typical activities. Again, you may start and complete each module at any time. There is no time limit for completing any of the activities. So the tabs for each module contain the video lectures, the discussion forum, and the quiz. Now, how do these components work together? The video lectures feature course experts who give you an overview of the module's topics. The workbooks accompanying the lectures allow you to take a deeper dive into each topic. They're available in PDF format, so they can easily be printed out and used for taking notes as you're reviewing the lectures. To test your comprehension of the content of the lectures in the workbooks, we ask you to take a short quiz. To pass the quiz, you must receive a score of 60% or higher. If you don't get all the questions right the first time around, don't worry, you can retake the quiz as many times as you need. After you've reviewed the lectures and the workbooks, and checked your understanding of the content by taking the quiz, you can now bring all this information together and discuss it on the discussion forum with other participants. Modules 2 and 3 will follow the same format. The course will conclude with key takeaways and an opportunity to provide feedback about your learning experience through the required course survey. Now you might wonder, how do I know if I'm on track with all the course activities? At any point in the course, you will be able to easily track your progress. Once you complete an activity, you will see a green check mark next to that activity. Your course completion certificate will be automatically generated once all the activities in the course homepage are marked with green check marks. And that's it, simple, right? Each of the modules contains an instructional email. At any point during the course, if you're not sure about the course requirements, we invite you to refer to that instructional email. One last point before we wrap up this video. Throughout the course, we encourage you to be active on the discussion forum. Learning for Nature offers an opportunity to easily interact with each other, send messages to the Learning for Nature community members, and have a lively discussion. We hope you will take advantage of this interactive environment and engage in conversations with other participants. Get started right now by introducing yourself in the Meet and Greet section on the homepage. To receive email notifications when new comments are posted on any of the forums, you have an option to subscribe to forum activity here. Once again, we're excited to welcome you to the course and wish you a great learning experience.
Thank you so much for recording that video, Victoria.
Yes, wonderful. Thank you so much. And if folks, just for everyone's knowledge, when you go into the course, when you sign in for the course, you'll be able to view that video again. So don't feel like you had to catch everything right now. You're able to go back, and even while you're in the course, you can go back to previous sections and review them again. And I think, once again, thank you so much, Victoria, for that wonderful, very clear, concise video of how to work and move through the course, and also for highlighting all those resources. Again, if you recall from seeing this video just now, there are actual workbooks that you'll be able to download, and I feel that these are really going to help because once you're done with the course, you may not want to sign back in, but you may want to look at the resources again, review them. And if you keep them in PDF form, you can make a folder on your computer, keep all those project access materials in there. Each of those PDFs also have links to other resources. So if you view them through the PDF file, you'll be able to go to the websites, to the mechanisms that we're speaking about. For example, if we're talking about the special rapporteur on the rights of indigenous peoples, you'll be able to click onto the website, and you'll also be able to click on documents that will be helpful, and other links that will help expand your knowledge and understanding of that particular component in the course. This is also very helpful when you get to the part about making interventions or statements at the UN level. For example, we're really gearing a lot of this focus towards the upcoming UN Permanent Forum on Indigenous issues, but really the course is letting you be aware that you're not limited to the UN Permanent Forum on Indigenous issues. That is, really a key body that you want to interact with, that you want to learn, that you want to build your networks with. We're going to learn more about that with our next speaker in just a moment. But really, you want to be aware that the overall system, there's many entryways for indigenous peoples to engage. And these documents, these links, and especially, again, when I'm saying when you want to make a testimony, we have a whole section on that with Ghazali Ohorela, my brother, who's walking you through that process. But we also are providing some sample testimony, or what we call interventions, that you can download and use those as a guide to help you formulate what you want to say, right? Because you only get a limited amount of time. Just like today, we have a limited amount of time to engage with each other and to be in this live session. But we will, through the course, be able to engage in the discussion rooms, in those discussion forums, and communicate back and forth through that way. Again, right now, the course is available in English, but we are working diligently on getting those other translations in other languages available, and they'll be up as soon as possible. But I think this team did a great job with the amount of time that we had, trying to get this out before the permanent forum so that people could make some use of that if they are engaging with the forum for the first time. So with that, all that talk about the forum, I'm very honored to introduce our next speaker, Miriam Masakisa. She's a longtime friend and advocate for indigenous peoples, but she also works at the Secretariat of the UN Permanent Forum, and you'll find one of her lectures in the course. So Miriam, please, when you're ready, unmute yourself. You have the floor, and we're looking so forward to what you have to share, and we thank you so much for being a part of the course.
Ajipunya tukuikuna, Imanaya Roberto, Imanaya Nina, Achka Kushiarini, Kaiwasiman Kayashkamanda. Good morning, everybody. My name is Miriam Masakisa. I am very, very happy and honored to be with you. I can see that many people join. First of all, I would like to recognize the important, extremely important work that Pamela Kraft start with this course, and of course my brother Roberto, Nina, and many others who through the years have been working very, very hard and with all the commitment to support indigenous peoples who were coming to New York to engage with the United Nations. A house that is composed by member states, but also where we found our place, where we found the possibility to engage and recommend through the Permanent Forum on Indigenous Issues what should be the better way to live together. So I'm not sure how many minutes I have, but I would like to start very quickly giving you a kind of overview of what's the forum, but especially what's going to happen this coming next week,
Miriam,
19.
Miriam, take your time. Please share whatever you feel is necessary. Don't feel rushed.
Excellent. Thank you, Roberto. So let's start. What's the Permanent Forum on Indigenous Issues? I'm sure that you are very curious, and of course, to tell you that it's one of the 3 United Nations mechanisms that deal with indigenous peoples. The others are the expert mechanism on indigenous peoples' rights and the special rapporteur on the rights of indigenous peoples. The Permanent Forum is an advisory body to the Economic and Social Council with a mandate to discuss indigenous peoples' issues related to economic and social development, culture, the environment, education, health, and human rights. But also the Permanent Forum have other mandates which are very, very important to know. For example, the first one of them is that the forum is the place where indigenous peoples can recommend, and through the forum, these recommendations go to the Economic and Social Council. The other one is to coordinate or include indigenous peoples' issues in the United Nations system. So which means that the forum, while they recommend, the UN agencies know what they should be doing in order to incorporate indigenous peoples' issues. The other one is to promote and disseminate information about indigenous peoples' issues. This is very crucial, and of course, thanks to many UN agencies, NGOs, like the one that you have, Tribal Link Foundation, for example, and others, they disseminate this information. Then 7 years later, the United Nations Declaration on the Rights of Indigenous Peoples was adopted. Another very important mandate was added to the forum, which is to promote and look for the implementation of the United Nations Declaration on the Rights of Indigenous Peoples. So those are in general the mandates that the members of the forum, they are 16 members, 8 from indigenous peoples organizations, 8 from nominated by member states. Together, they work in order to welcome you during 2 weeks of session in New York, discussing different themes. Through the years now is the 20th year. The first session was held in May in 2002, and a very exciting moment where the forum really make the presence at the United Nations. So it's really, really important that when you, of course, right now it would be a little bit difficult, but just tell you what has been done during these years and why it's important, your recommendation, why it's important that the indigenous movement is part of this process. For example, years past, the indigenous movement came very concerned about the situation of indigenous languages. So the forum listened to that. They prepare recommendations to the ECOSOC, and ECOSOC request or agreed that an expert group meeting should be organized on this issue. So through the years, 2 expert group meetings were organized on indigenous languages, And the first one, you know, we're trying to produce, why is this happening? What should be the policies that needs to be changed at country level? What the United Nations can do, what the member states can do, and even what indigenous peoples could do in order to preserve, to promote, and strengthen our indigenous languages. So in order to do that, the movement also think very strategically that declaration of an international year of indigenous languages would be a way to promote and shake the entire world on the situation. Because of course, when we lose one language, it's not only a communication tool, it captures the knowledge, our feeling, our understanding of how the entire ecosystem, the world works. So then in 2019, the forum, through listening against the indigenous movement, recommend that, and member states agree. So through for 1 year, 2019, we commemorate on what was the situation of indigenous peoples. After that, again, because of this movement, very interesting, so many things happening at country level, at international level, member states ask UNESCO to lead this process, and with the support our department, which is the Department of Economic and Social Affairs, DESA. So again, in the indigenous movement, ask that perhaps a decade should be dedicated in order to not only to get funds for this or to create programs, most importantly, to make that indigenous peoples speak our languages, continue speaking our languages. So in 2022, next year, we will actually start the decade of indigenous languages. So very important right now. UNESCO, as I said, they are the leading organization. So they are doing different consultations with indigenous peoples. Each representatives from different regions are involved on this, because this should be in partnership with the member states and indigenous peoples together. So this is one example of how why it's important to have a strategic recommendation which is addressed. How can I say, naming if it's addressed to a member state, if it's addressed to a UN agency or other international organizations, but also giving a time bounding, because it's different to say, for example, we would like to do this and that, and without any time. So also this would be very important that you take into account. So now I would like to share how the session this year would be organized. As you know, in 2020, the 19th session of the Permanent Forum, due to the coronavirus disease pandemic, was postponed. So the members of the forum recommended that some necessary procedural decisions pertaining to the date, the venue, the provisional agenda of the 2020 session should be adopted. So then they also asked to the council that they would like to carry on over the special theme from last year and also the document that has been prepared. So that's why for the session of the 2021 Permanent Forum session is Peace, Justice, and Strong Institutions, the role of indigenous peoples in implementing the Sustainable Development Goal 16. So as you know, since participation of the annual sessions of the Permanent Forum is normally comprised of forum members and indigenous peoples, along with member states, delegations from capitals and other stakeholders, forum members decided that the 2021 session will be convened in a hybrid format, which means that would be the opening and the closing in person, which means that some members of the forum and delegates of member states would be here in New York, and others in a virtual informal manner would be the discussions of the entire session. In order to accommodate timing zones and of course different regions, the members decided that most of the virtual meetings will be organized in the morning. So those will start from 9 to 11 a.m. So this information is available on the website. The program of work is also there. Please, I invite you to take a look of that. Very important. You would be able to participate through the speakers list, of course, and also would be some dialogues. But unfortunately, as every year, you know, before we used to have a 3 hours meeting in the morning and in the afternoon, this time we will have only two sessions of 2 hours in the morning. So time would be really a concern. But again, you have the possibility to send and share with us your declarations, the written statements. So a Google form is available on our website. So please do that. And another important issue that I would like to mention is that you will have the opportunity also to use these technologies, ICTs, the videos. So wherever you are, please try to film a short video of 2 minutes telling us what's going on, but most importantly, your recommendation with the hashtag UNPFII20 or hashtag We Are Indigenous. So you can upload yourself through your social media, and I am sure that we will be getting many of them. This would be also another way on create discussions and share what's happening, and hopefully we would be able also to make a difference in the decisions of member states. Let me also share with you the possibility to organize side events. Again, it is an important way to do it, as it is, you will organize, of course, the platform, who would be your participants, etc., etc. That's a kind of thing that you can do it. But very important, the participants who would like to take the floor through the speakers list, or to organize side events, or to have the name of your organizations in the official documents of the United Nations, you must be registered in the platform, which is called Indico. We closed registration on 2nd of April, but if your focal point still didn't approve the delegates, please, now is the time. We kindly request to do it as soon as possible, because next week we already start with all the preparations, and that would be another issue. So how about if you didn't have the opportunity to register? Don't be concerned. It would be the sessions, the proceedings of the sessions through the 2 weeks, it would be open. Those would be webcasted on the UN webcast. So in the languages, in the official languages of the United Nations. So you will be able to listen and follow up wherever you are live. So that's something that I would like. Very important, please check out the documents prepared for the 2020 session last year, but also the ones that were prepared for this year. There are very important studies prepared by members of the forum also, that would be important that you can review, and those also contain recommendations, conclusions that would be helpful for you to use in your advocacy activities. I think that's what I can share by now. Of course, I am here. If you have any question, please let me know. And again, we will be very happy to welcome you all. Please follow us through our social media and also visit the website of the DESA Indigenous Peoples. Thank you very much, Roberto, Nina, and everybody.
Ahom Ditu. Thank you, Sister Miriam. Thank you so much for sharing that important information about the upcoming UN Permanent Forum on Indigenous Issues. Traditionally, at least over the last 15 years, we've been holding the Project Access live session right before the forum so that Indigenous peoples can engage in a more effective way. And we're hoping that this course will also assist in that, even in this virtual time. So a lot of good information. Again, just for folks who are tuning in, Miriam is one of the featured lectures in the course, so you'll be able to, again, revisit some of the things that she shared, and she also shared some of the aspects of what's going to happen this year as well. And just so that you know, the registration is ongoing. It's not like you have to register today, and then that's it. You don't have time. This is a long-term asset. This is what the organizations who have come together, Tribal Link and UNDP, have envisioned, that maybe next year we'll have to update the section on the permanent forum if there are changes, and we'll invite Miriam or whoever is designated to come in and provide that update for us so that the course can remain current and continue to help people. I mean, obviously, we won't be able to always work with everyone when we do a live session. We have limited space at the UN. But this course, we hope that it will provide some help and really lessen the frustration when you come into a really bureaucratic process like the United Nations. Now, I know there are some questions coming in the Q&A portion. There are a lot of comments coming in the chat. But again, just to remind you, the course, you can register ongoing. We will be coming up with translations for the course soon, so be patient with us on that. We're on a time crunch for everything. But right now, I really have the pleasure. We have two other lecturers who participated with us in the course itself. And I want to just open up the floor. Thank you so much, Ghazali, for being here, and really for your contribution to the course and everything that you've done for and with Project Access over the years. So welcome.
Then first of all, thank you so much, everyone, for setting this up. First of all, obviously, as well, is I think Pam would have been super proud for what you guys all have, the work that you have done, what you all have achieved. To me, Tribal Link is Pamela Craft, and Pamela Craft is Tribal Link. And so one of my dearest experiences with Pam is she always knew me better than I knew myself. So she did send me to Rio de Janeiro for COP, not for COP, but Rio Plus 20. And she put me on sometimes in the spotlights or on the spot as well, because she knew that she did this weird thing of recognizing the strengths of people, and people to recognize it themselves and then put that front and center. Roberto is a very good example of that. Nina is a very good example of that, and she created a whole family of people, an empowering community that I will always like. Pamela to me is my UN mom. When I have my own mom, obviously had my own mom, but Pamela was my UN mom. And Damon Corey said it very best, that Pamela Craft was like a fairy godmother to Indigenous peoples. Unfortunately, people that are now signing up due to circumstances, obviously, do not have the opportunity to meet Pam or interact with Pam, because if you would sit down with Pam for 5 minutes, you would already have that feeling of that she considers you family. And Project Access is exactly that. It is not just a training program, not just an ordinary training program. It is a the in-person, the live Project Access was all people parachuted in, and we had to learn quickly how the United Nations works, and that was that's what people expected when they came in. They came in as strangers, but as the 2 weeks progressed, they came out as family and super well versed and super experienced in how the UN works, and taking that home and duplicating themselves and making that community a lot bigger. So I'm so excited for people to get through all these sections. You get to learn from not just people, but indigenous experts or experts in general of the UN system, how it works, and a different. The UN is a big monster, you know, and it's a huge one. And we as indigenous peoples, we're trying to navigate that. We're trying to master the system, and Project Access is something that you can that can help you do that. And fortunately, I don't want to talk too long because Ty's already waiting, and I love to hear Ty speak. From my segment, or that my contribution is how to influence that big UN thing, that big system through your intervention. Because at the end of the day, time is gold for indigenous peoples at the UN. You get 2, maybe 3 minutes, and it's up to you to make those 3 minutes effective, make them count. So my contribution is I've been observing for 18 years all these statements from indigenous peoples and analyzing them, and also writing them myself, helping them write, and coming up with a framework or a strategy to make those 2 or 3 minutes super effective. So I am very much looking forward to seeing you write your statement and you share it in the community, share it with the people that are participating in this training program, so that we can help one another, so that we can learn from one another. And I think that is the core strength of Project Access, that we help each other grow. So I think that I'll stick to that. And thank you so much, Roberto, and anybody else that has contributed to this online training program. Make this part of this amazing legacy of our dear friend, Pamela Craft.
Ahom Datiao, thank you so much, Ghazali. Carson, whenever you're ready, please go ahead.
Greetings, Roberto, and everyone. It's good to see you, all of you, and thank you, Julie. Hi, Nina, Roberto, Ty, and Ghazali, Tashka. I'm just mentioning people that I remember seeing them the last 2 years. And Maria, I remember Maria as well. So thank you so much for the opportunity. I never expected this, but it's important that I mention. And as I wrote in the chat, this is for the memory of our beloved Pam. I first engaged in Project Access in 2018. I would say it was because of what Ghazali has just said, and I'm not going to repeat all of it, but just to reiterate that it was because of Pam's idea, and Pam as a person, seeing what is in everyone and just trying to strengthen whatever that is in everyone. I remember she called me right where I am right now after my application, and I had a lot of challenges with visa and other issues. And miraculously, as we all say, that she was kind of a fairy godmother to all of us. She made it. She made sure that I appeared at the permanent forum, but not specifically permanent forum, but also this one, Project Access. So to all of our brothers and sisters listening, wherever you are, this is a very important course that I attended in person in 2018. and it has made a tremendous change in my community leadership, within the UN system. I remember the first time the experience was very important. I was able to get to the UN, and it's like, everywhere. It's only that I have not been there before, but it's like I knew every door to knock. And then there you have all these great people who are here. Tai, Roberto, Nina, just telling you, how is it going? And did you make your statement? How was it? I mean, they were just there asking you, how was the experience with the statement? And that is the family part of Project Access. And I'm really, really excited that it's coming online, so that many people will be able to access this very important course. And personally, I'm also going to do it again. I mean, I like doing it online. Maybe my motivation this time around is just to get the certificate, and it's really important. And I'm here as well to share my views and my leadership as well, having gone through within the Youth Caucus and the other UN spaces, which is really important. Any questions that you might have, I will drop my email in the chat. You can get it. You can ask me. And thank you for the opportunity, Robert. I know I never expected that I was going to speak, and I probably have spoken a lot. Thank you, everyone. Stay safe wherever you are till the moment that we're going to meet once again. It's such a pleasure. Thank you.
Thank you so much for calling in, Carson. I know it's probably a little bit later where you're calling in from, and I really appreciate your time. So there are some questions coming in, and but I want to see if we can hear from Ty before we start taking some of the questions or addressing some of the questions in the group here.
This is so exciting. I want to share with you that one of the things that Pam would say over and over each year was, how could we make the project Access reach out more and more people? And interestingly, COVID-19 has made us change a lot of our ways. And this time to hear that we have 1,200 people registered is so exciting. I know that there's a lot of elements that cannot compare to being in person and to have that experience, but I want you to grasp all that you can from the different people that will be given the lectures, because the one thing that we have seen over and over during the advocacy is that people many times do not understand the purpose and the mandate, as Miriam was explaining, the mandate of the forum. So a lot of our relatives come looking for immediate answers, and they may get disappointed. The important thing is to grasp what it is, to learn how to make those interventions, to download the information, as Mukaro was saying, because all of those will contribute to the success that you will have as an advocate at the UN fora in general, not just the UN Permanent Forum on Indigenous Issues. Making reports to the Special Rapporteur and other mechanisms that are equally as important will be of the essence, and you will gain that knowledge here. I'm super excited to know that we will not stop the mission. We are no Pamela Craft, but we learn from the best. So I hope that among all of us, and that you get a little grain of sand from everyone, and that you understand that while you have not met her in person, that her legacy continues, and that you will become part of that as well. So it is super exciting to be part of this group. My session will be at the end, pretty much doing a recap on the things that you must remember and keep in mind, and know that all of us here are your brothers and sisters, and we want the best, and know that we're here to assist you. So if you have any questions, que si tiene alguna pregunta en español, algo que no quede claro, por favor, sepa que puede comunicarse conmigo. The same, lo mismo para aquellos que hablan portugués. Eu não sou tan bom escrevendo, pero lo entiendo, eu compreendo. Eu compreendo, só você pode falar comigo. Así que, bueno, aquí a la orden, bendiciones, éxito a todos, y espero que esto sea una experiencia positiva para todos. Gracias, Lina. I hope that this becomes a very positive experience for all of you, and that you know that you have a family. Even if we're doing this for the first time online, Project Access has been known, as Ghazali was saying, to be that family. As Carson reaffirmed, we are a family. And we hope that even during these hard times where we have to do things online, that you all understand that that is exactly what we are. And welcome to the Project Access family. A home.
A home, Ditu, for sharing those words. Very well taken and very much appreciated. And Carson, I love your background. You have that background with Pamela there. I love that media savviness in folks. I'm not there yet, but I'm trying like everyone else. But there's a lot of issues here that have come up and that I just want to reiterate is that during the course we will have discussion forums again, and these are where some other questions and while we're not going to be myself or Ghazali or Ty or Carson might not be on every day, we will be checking in to the discussion forums to see where we can add some of our voices and assist whenever possible. So you will see us popping in there and trying to help help the dialogue along, or maybe point you to some additional resources that we can think of, or maybe we can brainstorm. And who knows? I'm looking forward to learning some things myself. But here's a question that had come in from a brother named Leonard. He's calling in from what we know as Canada today, and he was talking about the progress made by Aboriginal people in various parts of the world, and he noted that the progress is varied wherever people are. So given that reality, he's asking, do we consider the differences for helping indigenous peoples or Aboriginal peoples, as he writes, or is this one approach for all? So, what I put down in there, really, in my view, and I think what we've learned, engagement at the UN, there's no one size fits all in these. I mean, there's a way that you can engage the UN, understanding, as Ty said, the mandates of the particular mechanism that you're engaging with is super important, because if you go there thinking that it's maybe an adjudication mechanism where you're going to be taking somebody to a place similar to court, you're going to come away frustrated. But if you really understand what you're coming into and what the limitations and what's available for you in that forum, you can make that work for you to raise that visibility, hopefully put some pressure on, connect with people, network. And this has really changed people's lives in many ways. And sometimes even in very critical situations, we've seen this happen over our time engaging with the UN. So again, the UN is not the silver bullet that solves all your problems, but it can be very useful, right, for our communities to engage and to raise that visibility and hopefully take action in some areas that you find will be important. This is how much you put in is really how much you're going to get out. Depending, of course, on the other factors, right? We're dealing with governments, right? And so these issues are often very complicated and very challenging for some, depending on where you're located. So we don't want to give any kind of false ideas about the level of what you can achieve, but there's a lot useful there. So there are other questions that have been coming in that have to do with technical questions about the course. And, I see that Victoria has been acknowledging that. There was one question that came in from our brother Robert Rosa, a good Taino brother. I'm happy that he's on the line. And it says here, can any of this knowledge be used at the local level, a state or country, meaning not only at the UN? And Ghazali did answer that, saying that in that section that he contributed to, writing the interventions, he writes there that there's a way that you can apply this knowledge to all. And I want to second that. We've used, and Ty could share, maybe Ghazali could share a little more, but I know that in our own community, we've used what we've learned at the UN to make statements and to engage local level advocacy. Ghazali or Ty, do you want to just add anything there, briefly to that?
Can you hear me here?
Yes.
All right. If I may, what's happening now? Wait a minute.
Okay.
If I may answer on this one and the one in Spanish as well.
Go ahead.
One of the main things that we always stress at Project Access is the fact that we go there to do to present our interventions, etc. And when you have the opportunity to go in person, that you also network with your other Indigenous brothers and sisters. However, the work does not stop there. Anything that we do at the international level must be brought back to our local communities and our states. Otherwise, these things will have no value. We have to also work at the local level. As a matter of fact, there's many mechanisms that are of the essence, like the Sustainable Development Agenda that you will learn about, the Climate Change Agreement, the CBD, and yet those things, including the Beijing Plan of Action. But you need to bring those to your community. You need to reinforce the UN Declaration right at the local level. So it is of the essence that what you learn there, you bring back to the community, and that you also empower and coach others within your community to also learn those ropes. En cuanto a la pregunta de Jocabel, estabas preguntando sobre los 3 minutos que menciona Ghazali sobre la intervención. Él estaba aclarando que comúnmente dentro del espacio de la ONU se tienen de 2 a 3 minutos y en otros espacios a veces hasta un solo minuto. Por lo tanto, lo que se vaya a escribir en esa intervención tiene que contener la fortaleza del mensaje que usted quiere llevar o lo que usted desea presentar ante la ONU como recomendación particularmente, y que eso tenga el peso necesario para que entonces el foro, esos 16 representantes, reciban esa recomendación y se la puedan pasar a el ECOSOC. Pero eso va a ser parte del entrenamiento y ustedes van a aprender cómo en un espacio tan corto de tiempo poder comunicar esto. Gracias.
Thank you so much. I just want to go right now to Miriam Masakisa because she also wanted to engage on one of the questions. So Miriam, please, you have the floor.
Yes, very important. Again, I would like to reiterate the issue that this year we will have only 2 hours for the organization of each meeting. So it would be very, very important that you please register. Today is actually the deadline for the list of speakers. So you need to register there, but also you have to be already pre-registered in Indico, which is the platform where you access to participate on the permanent forum session. So the ones who would be selected to take the floor during each item of the agenda, you will be getting a link, and next week, sometime next week, you will be contacted, and you have to do a kind of test, an onboarding test, to check if your video camera, if your audio is correct. So these have to be done. So today is the deadline. Please don't miss that. You need to do that. However, if you are not selected because you know the time constraints, please email your written statement. You need to provide your name, the name of the organization, and most importantly, the recommendations, and of course, what is the main message. If it's possible, please add the item agenda that you are referring to, because this is something very important. I am sure Ghazali will teach you on all of these important aspects. Then, of course, again, the information is available in English, and also we have the Spanish website. You just need to go there, click on each one of the aspects. And there is also a frequently asked questions in English and Spanish, which is giving you, in short, how the session is going to organize and what do you need to know. So I think that's very important. Again, don't miss the opportunity, but don't forget the other possibility of sharing the issues and also the recommendations through the videos of 2 minutes from where you are. If you are in an indigenous community with classrooms, empty classrooms, you know, you can film from there and ask and recommend what government must do in order to provide the rights of indigenous children to education. So that's what I wanted to share. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Miriam. I did see that we had Morse on from the UN Voluntary Fund. He was another one of our lecturers. Morse, are you still there?
I think he dropped off, but he should be back soon, I believe.
Okay. Ghazali, did you want to add anything else to that, to what was just shared?
Sure, yeah, briefly, so that people,
Morse.
if I may, just to add to and underline what Ty and Carson and everyone else said, you should look at Project Access as a toolbox, as a toolkit. Roberto might want to build a house. Ty wants to build a shed. Carson wants to build a picnic table. There's no one. What I'm trying to say is there's no one indigenous voice. All indigenous peoples, 476 million indigenous peoples all around the world, all have the right to self-determination, to represent themselves in decision-making processes. The only thing that Project Access does is provide you the tools, the toolkit, so that you can do whatever you want to do to the best of your abilities, making sure that you have the right and the necessary tools. You can apply these at the United Nations level, at the international level. You can apply that at the local level. You can even apply it at the community level as well. Because like what Ty says is super important, is that it is up to us as indigenous people's representatives or non-indigenous people's representatives, because there are also a lot of non-indigenous people interested in this course, is to breathe life into the UN Declaration. Seeking justice at the international level is not just waving with the declaration. You have to breathe life into it. So you have to use it at all levels that are possible, all levels that are that you can influence decision-making processes. And that's where Project Access comes in. It gives you the practical tools. It doesn't give you just a theory. It gives you like, all right, this is the declaration. This is how you should use the special rapporteur. This is how you should use the permanent forum. And this is how you should write a UN intervention. But writing a UN intervention the indigenous way, you can also do that in a presentation. Do your own TED Talk, for example, or a YouTube video or do a presentation at the council level, at the municipality level. You see what I'm trying to get to is that this is, these are just building blocks for you. And it's up to you to decide what you want to build. And it is not like Roberto said, project access or the UN is not the silver bullet, but it does give you something that is the pinnacle of the rights of indigenous peoples, the right to self-determination. All that we do is give you your hammer, your nails, your saw, whatever that you need so that you can build whatever you want to build. That's just what I wanted to say. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Ghazali, for sharing that. I don't see that Morse is on. He might have dropped off. He is, quite a few hours ahead of us, so maybe there's something else going on. But we appreciate that he was here. You'll be able to check out his lectures in the course as well, talking about the UN Voluntary Fund and the UN Fellowship Program. So there's more ways that you can actually learn about the system and getting into the course, reviewing these. And I urge people not to, for example, there's a lot of information that's going to be shared. There's lectures, there's the workbooks, there's the links, there's the resources. And so I would urge you, as you're going through the course, don't come to the course thinking, oh, let's just check off everything done, so I can get this certificate at the end. That's not really going to help you, and that's not really going to be, it's not really what the course is about. It's really about applying this knowledge to your situations and helping the community. Because as we know, as indigenous peoples, indigenous is not an individual exercise. We're talking about communities that we're connected to, right? And how we raise up our communities so that, our future generations have something to look forward to, right? And that this is what we're fighting for. We're fighting for our future generations, the planet, right? All the other relations that we interact with on a daily level. So, please go through the course. It's a self-paced course, so you don't have to finish it all in one day. You don't have to finish it all in a couple of hours. I mean, I would be surprised if you were able to do that. And I'm wondering if maybe, you might want to go back and go over things again, because it's really important to go over this stuff again. Download those documents, keep them in folders so that you can continue to refer to them and use those links to get to other things to expand your knowledge. So, I'm looking around, and Miriam, maybe you could share a little bit about the fellowship. Oh, there's another guest who's saying that they're a senior indigenous fellow in Geneva, and they're going to contact Morse. But Miriam, please feel free to share.
Yes, thank you very much, Roberto. Let me tell you that I am also one of the. I was a former fellow. Well, I am a former fellow. I was in Geneva in 2001. And have a great opportunity to learn how the UN works. And actually, at that time, we didn't have this powerful tool like what you are doing now. What I would like to say is that right now, of course, due to the different issues, the program is shorter. However, there are opportunities to join this program in different languages. Now you have the opportunity to learn about the UN and indigenous peoples' issues in Spanish, in French, in Russian. Those are shorter periods, but I know that those are there. But also there is another program, which is this senior program, which is also a good opportunity that you can use in order to have a deeper knowledge on how the UN works with indigenous peoples. Those are based in Geneva, and it's handled by the OHCHR. And I know my brother Morse also is one of the former fellows. So I am sure that you will be, you will learn more about that. There is every year a call. There is an application that you need to fill out, send. And then after that, you will be, of course, if you have this opportunity, you can participate in this program. Something that I would like to share is that now is a great opportunity. Why? Because through this course, you will learn how to interact with the UN. But after that, you will have the other possibility, which is actually see live how the United Nations Permanent Forum works. So for next year, you will be ready. You will know, kind of theory of what you need to do, how to prepare recommendations, how to speak. Then you will observe how the permanent forum session works, what the chair is doing, how she calls, when she cuts, of course, sometimes speakers because they are going over the time, or what the member state is saying, or what the indigenous peoples are saying. So you will learn how to do better and how to actually use these 2 minutes for the best. So I think it's a really complementary tool what's happening now with this course during the next 2 weeks, during the forum, actually to see how everything's done. Again, and next year you will be ready. It's kind of a package and a very complete course. So I encourage you very much that you can participate, and you can, of course, if somebody else is missing, maybe you can also ask them to come. So that's what I wanted to share. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Miriam, for that extra information. Very important. There are people who are asking about a link to the permanent forum page. I don't know if you can share that into the chat for folks. And again, just realize that even if you do not register for the forum, you will still be able to view what's going on, because the forum will be transmitted live throughout the session, as Miriam said. So that's I just wanted to emphasize that it's a real way to prepare yourself for the next session, as Miriam just said. So just putting that out there again to reemphasize. We are coming down to near the close of our launch event today, and I just wanted to invite Victoria or Julie, who are really working diligently behind the scenes and trying to connect with questions and more of the technical stuff. They were just both amazing to work with during the development of this course. We really, I just really enjoyed my time working with you, Diego, all the folks, who really made this happen, Rachel and others. And so maybe if you want to just share a few words before we start winding everything down.
Thank you so much, Roberto. It's been a great pleasure to be a part of this and see this wonderful community, and be able to support in any way that we can. It's been a real honor. And once again, we'd like to say welcome everyone to the course. We really look forward to staying in touch. If you know anybody who could benefit from the course or could find it useful, please bring them in, spread the word. It's never too late to register. The course will remain open as a long-term asset. And again, please feel free to use the course room and this online environment and its forums in a way that's most useful to you. And finally, as Nina said, there are real people behind this course. And we really look forward to supporting you in any way that we can. That survey at the end of the course really matters to us. We'll be looking over all of your answers, all of your suggestions for improvement, and acting on those suggestions. So we look forward, with your support, to making this course better and more useful going forward, and look forward to all of the discussions and conversations with you. Thank you again so much, everyone.
Thank you, Victoria. Julie?
Thank you so much, Roberto, and everyone here. This was really an amazing course to put together with all of you. Tribal Link has been an amazing partner, and it's been an honor to work with all of you. But more importantly, I want to make sure that everyone is doing well during this time, during this crisis. There's a health crisis, there's a biodiversity crisis, there's a climate change crisis, and even in the face of all of that, this community rose to the occasion to produce something that will span the globe. By having a virtual community, we are able to be global. And I think Morse is here now.
Yes, I am. I'm here. Sorry about that. Can you hear me?
Of course. Yes, we can make you, you can turn on your video in one moment. Give me 1 second.
Okay.
So
Go
Morris,
ahead.
you came in at a good time, Morris, because we're wrapping up. So maybe just share some of your feelings, Project Access, how you felt participating in this.
Fantastic. Thank you so much, colleagues. It's an absolute pleasure to be a part of this fantastic initiative. And one person that is very common to all of us, it's our dear friend, teacher, mother to all of us, sister to many. He's getting ahead of us, but I think this training, each one of us has shared something in this training, and that story will go, further. And I think that's what, the legacy of PAM is all about. It's the sharing of knowledge that will continue, and it will multiply in personally within our own communities and with all the people, that we touch, when we share that knowledge to everyone. As the secretariat of the fund, I have worked with PAM for a couple of years now, and I had the opportunity to work closely with her and with other colleagues within Taiwan Link 2 years ago. And one thing that really struck me with PAM is her selfless work. She would prefer to be at the back, and she speaks very. No, she speaks very. How do I put it? Not a lot of words, but when she speaks, you listen, and that is something that really made me feel welcome within that community, and she's a very good listener too. She's also very persistent, and that is why for any indigenous human rights defender, advocate, that is a very important lessons learned that you'll have to take it with you. It's the persistence. It's this non-stop willingness to go beyond, what is called for you to build on. I really hope that the training, will accompany you in that journey. I know that, that you are under the very good hands of colleagues with Tribal Link, with UNDP. If you have any questions concerning the Indigenous Fund and the fellowship program, please don't hesitate to get in touch with me. I would be delighted to even provide any follow-up session from what we have now on video, because, I understand, I can imagine how, I was trying to imagine how Ghazali were able to put his words in 25 minutes with all the experience that he has same with other colleagues. So, I really hope that Tribal Link will continue providing, this capacity building program. We need this. Indigenous peoples need this. Everybody needs this one. And we are delighted that we have one of this now online, and it's accessible to everybody. You are the best ambassador of the program and Tribal Link. Keep talking about it. That's my last word. Thank you very much, colleagues. It's an absolute pleasure. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Morris. I don't think we could say any more than that. You really wrapped it up beautifully for us. I want to take the time right now to just thank everybody who was able to call in today, those who were listening along with us, and really to each of you, Victoria, Nina, Julie, Tai, Miriam Masakisa, Ghazali, Morris, Carson. I mean, thank you so much for the words that you shared here. I know Pam would really be just tickled, right? I think she would have that little giggle going and that little smile, and she would just be really happy. You could see that photo. If some of you can, if your videos are on, you could see that photo of Pam with Carson, and it's really so heartwarming and so powerful for me to see that with all of us together, and just looking at all the folks who are still online, who have stayed online with us through this whole session. So on behalf of Tribal Link Foundation and the United Nations Development Program, I want to thank you. Register for the course if you haven't. Let us know how you feel through the survey, and we look forward to continuing our dialogue together beyond the course, and hopefully we'll see you in person one of these days. So hahom dituno kena datia ono. Thank you, my sisters and brothers. Thank you, relatives.